JMU Dukes, welcome to part 2 of our video series about the credit, no credit grading options. My name is Amy Strite and I am one of the academic advisors on campus. Now that you are familiar with the credit, no credit grading options from part 1 of our video series, we want to analyze some case studies and talk about some resources that will help you make your decisions that will impact your academic career. Let's apply what we know to 2 case studies of students to best determine options for their academic career regarding the credit, no credit grading options. For these case studies, we'll be using the Career and Academic Planning's Cumulative GPA Calculator. For our first case study, we'll take a look at Madison, whose personal pronouns are she, her, hers. Madison is a hospitality management major. In the fall 2019 semester, she attempted 15 credit hours, earning 12, and earned a GPA of a 1.6, which put her on academic probation. In the spring 2020 semester, she is attempting 12 credit hours. Let's take a look and see what the options for Madison look like. Using the GPA calculator, Madison will put in her most recent cumulative GPA, which is a 1.6, and her current total number of credit hours attempted. Then Madison will enter her spring 2020 information listed below, including the course names, the number of credit hours they are worth, the grade she expects to receive from each of the courses, and whether or not the class has been taken as repeat credit or repeat forgive. Once all that information has been put in, she'll hit the Calculate GPA button right there. Based on all the information put in previously, she would end up with a semester GPA of a 2.0 and a cumulative GPA of a 1.778, which would still mean her status would be on academic probation. Now we have to ask, what would it look like if Madison decided to use the credit, no credit grading option for her courses? Madison decides to change her grade in Econ 201 from a D+ to NC, or no credit. When she hits the Calculate GPA button again, her semester GPA changes to a 2.233, and her cumulative GPA changes to a 1.838. Madison also decides to change her grade in Bio 103 from a C- to NC, or no credit, presses the Calculate GPA button, and her semester GPA raises to a 2.5, while her cumulative GPA raises to a 1.857. With Madison's case, here are some things to consider. Due to the changes that Madison made by changing to Econ 201 and Bio 103 to credit or no credit, these positively impacted her cumulative GPA. Remember that courses that are changed to credit, no credit do not count towards your GPA calculation. However, due to Madison getting no credit for the courses she changed, she would have fewer total credit hours earned than if she had kept the course grades as they are. She would have had 24 credits earned if she had kept her grades the way that they were, 21 credit hours if she changed one of these 2 courses to credit, no credit, and 18 total credit hours if she changes both to credit, no credit. Now, let's talk about our second case study, John. John is a public policy administration major. John's personal pronouns are he, him, his. John earned 15 credit hours in the fall 2019 semester with a GPA of a 2.140 and is in good academic standing. This spring, he is taking 12 credit hours and is retaking a 3 credit hour course with repeat forgiveness. Using the GPA calculator, John will put in his most recent cumulative GPA, which is a 2.140, and his current total number of credit hours attempted, or 15. Then, John will enter his spring 2020 information listed below, including the course names, the number of credit hours they're worth, the grade he expects to receive from each of the courses, and whether or not the course has been taken repeat credit or repeat forgive. In this case, John has 1 class with repeat forgiveness and will enter his previous grade below the option he has selected. Once all the information is put in, he will hit the Calculate GPA button. Based on all the information entered previously, he would end up with a semester GPA of a 2.10 and a cumulative GPA of a 2.388, which would still keep John in a good academic standing. Now, it's important to consider, what would it look like for John if he decided to use the credit, no credit grading option for his courses? John decides to change his grade in Music 200 from a C- to NC, or no credit. When he hits Calculate GPA button again, his semester GPA changes to a 2.233, and the cumulative GPA changes to a 2.486. John also decides to change his grade in History 101 from a C to credit, or CR, and recalculates the GPA. His semester GPA raises to a 2.35, while his cumulative GPA raises to a 2.567. With John's case, here are some things to consider. Do the changes that John made by changing his Music 200 and/or History 101 to credit, no credit, this positively impacted his cumulative GPA? Remember that courses that are changed to credit, non-credit, do not count towards your GPA calculation. However, due to John getting NC or no credit for his Music 200 course, he would have fewer total credit hours earned. With each of these case studies, there are pros and cons, so make sure that you touch base with your academic advisor so you have all the information you need to make a fully informed decision. Here are the links to the GPA semester calculator that we used, as well as the cumulative GPA calculator on Career and Academic Planning's website. There are also resources in Canvas that you can use to calculate sample grades for your academic courses. Thanks for watching our instructional video, and we hope that you have a safe rest of the semester. Go Dukes!